You're watching News 3 Now, live at 4, moving forward.
Good afternoon and welcome to Live at 4. Oh, there we are. I think I'm getting used to this cold weather now.
I think I am too.
We're deep freeze people now.
And when it's 40 over the weekend, it's going to feel like it is. It's going to be, and spring is actually a month from tomorrow.
But who's counting?
We're getting there. Yeah.
So close.
Speaking of spring, though, we are going to have Lisa Briggs here later this hour, so we'll be taking plant questions. If you'd like to email one in at tips@channel3000.com.
And let's get a look at our first foreign forecast with meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Jacob, how's it looking?
Well, we're still cold right now, but next week it is going to be a lot better. And you said it's about a month from spring. Meteorological spring actually starts in 8 days, and it will feel a little bit better by the time we get to meteorological spring, which will be next week. Now, as we take a look at the current conditions, again, still very cold, 11 degrees, wind chill right now at 0 with 7-mile-per-hour wind speeds. Looking at the current temperatures, though, they are, if you can believe it, better than yesterday, but still in the single digits to lower double digits right now. And the winds are still a little bit breezy out there. Not too bad, but we're still in that temperature range where just a little bit of wind can create those wind chills to get below 0. And right now, a lot of southern Wisconsin seeing wind chills kind of between 0 and -5. As we take a look at the evening forecast, we'll continue to see cloudy skies with temperatures in the single digits. And then they are expected to drop below 0 for at least some parts of the area tonight, as the clouds will clear up just a little bit. Overall, the lows will be around 0. But we are going to continue to get better, although, again, it's still going to be cold the next couple of days. I'll have the full forecast, though, coming up a little bit later.
A Beloit man is in jail for alleged human trafficking, among other things.
60-year-old Charles Bell is charged with 21 felony and misdemeanor counts. A criminal complaint alleges that Bell forced a woman that he lived with into prostitution. Men would come to his home and pay for sex and crack cocaine. Bell would also make the women get high before the men arrived. The complaint also alleges that he threatened her life when she tried to break up with him. He is currently in jail on a $100,000 cash bond. His next court appearance is on the 25th.
This is the Human Trafficking Hotline. It's a national toll-free hotline available to answer calls from anywhere 24/7. The hotline is not a law enforcement or immigration authority. You can call it to get help or to report a tip at the number on your screen. That's 888-373-7888.
Well, it's a situation that is difficult to talk about, school shootings, but there is some promising technology to avoid the worst outcomes.
News 3 Now's Kyle Pozorski shows us.
Wednesday morning at the Ithaca Community Gym, representatives from Shooter Detection Systems could be seen showing off hardware programmed to alert authorities of an active shooter threat.
And within 5 seconds, we are alerting all emergency personnel or any life safety or security measures that you guys have.
Those in attendance were a mixture of educators, state representatives, and law enforcement, all looking forward to a live demonstration of this technology. After a failed first attempt due to a setup failure, a second round was fired, followed instantly by the alert of an active shooter. Richland County Sheriff Clay Porter says the technology has the capability of reducing response time, something he and other first responders say is critical in active shooter events.
I certainly think it looks like a good product and a good program, and it seems like it's probably a good value for what they're offering us. I'm impressed by it.
Ithaca School District staff are looking into possible grant programs or by help from the taxpayers to pay and implement this technology. In Ithaca, Kyle Pozorski, News 3 Now.
Kyle, thank you. The company boasts a 99.9% accuracy rate, avoiding false alarms in over 350 million operating hours. Each individual sensor costs about $800.
Transgender girls will no longer be able to play girls' sports. The Wisconsin Interscholastic Athletic Association's board held a meeting today in which members voted to comply with the Trump administration's directive on removing people assigned male at birth from women's and girls' sports. A statement from the WIAA's executive director reads in part, "Working in consultation with legal counsel, our board updated this policy to ensure clarity is provided to our membership as they work to comply with the new federal guidance from the White House."
In the Capitol, the state assembly is approving a slate of education-related bills.
Political reporter Will Keneally is there, and he has the latest.
One of the bills we've been tracking would essentially ban cell phone use in schools across the state. It would require each district to create its own policy, with some exceptions like for emergencies or to manage a student's health. We spoke with the bill's author ahead of today's vote.
The average high school kid spends 7 to 9 hours per day on the phone, which leaves them little time for schoolwork or socialization, and it really robs them of their ability to focus. We know technology is not going away, right? It's going to be with our kids forever, but we need to teach them to use it responsibly, and a big part of that is learning when to put it away when you have work to do.
And we actually saw a brief amendment today that would exclude school-issued wireless devices from this ban. Now, that bill was approved along near party lines, and we'll actually see the Assembly take up later a bill that would mandate cursive instruction in classrooms. Reporting from the state capitol, Will Keneally, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Will, and we'll have more on those bills coming up later on News 3 Now at 5.
Governor Tony Evers' $119 million budget calls for increasing spending by more than 20%. The budget, in part, seeks to fight the Trump administration's recent actions, and that includes leaving $500 million available to respond to situations caused by federal decisions. The governor also proposed the highest increase in Universities of Wisconsin funding in state history, citing concerns over federal cuts. UW-Madison's chancellor released a statement in response, reading in part, "The governor's call for significant investment is especially important as higher education in Wisconsin and across the nation face tremendous uncertainty and risks to federal funding."
Republicans lambasted the proposal. Senate Majority Leader Devin LeMahieu called it reckless, saying the governor wants to have more people rely on government and grow its size.
Two candidates are advancing in the race to become Wisconsin's top education official.
In last night's primary for Department of Public Instruction State Superintendent, incumbent Jill Underly took home 38% of the vote. Education consultant Brittany Kinzer received 34.6%, and Sauk Prairie Superintendent Jeff Wright fell out of the race with 27.4%.
Our Ellie LaLiberte has been following this race and joins us with where it goes from here. Ellie.
Yeah, Brady, I caught up with both Underly and Kinzer today about their campaign plans moving forward. Both are already making their next pitch to voters. State superintendent is a role that comes up every 4 years and oversees public education throughout the state. That means whoever wins the election will also oversee education policy and funding for schools. Underly says she wants voters to know the differences between her and her opponent, calling Kinzer's pro-school choice voucher position a danger to public education.
I think we need to really take a hard look at who do you want leading the Department of Public Instruction? Do you want somebody who has that record of standing up for all kids in all public schools, or somebody who doesn't have that experience at all?
Now for Kinzer, she's looking to attract rights voters to her campaign, calling a need for change.
We both want to restore the high standards that Jill Underly lowered. We also believe, from what I learned from his campaign, that we need to make sure that DPI is more transparent, predictable, and innovative.
Now, DPI superintendent is a nonpartisan race, but Underly is backed by Wisconsin Democrats and Kinzer is favored by Republicans. I'll continue to follow this race as we move closer to the April 1st election.
Ellie, thank you. Beaver Dam police are still looking for missing 16-year-old Sophia Franklin.
Earlier this week, the police department shared this video with us from a home security system camera. It was taken on February 3rd. That is the same day 40-year-old suspect Gary Day was last seen at Franklin's home.
Police also shared new images of both the suspect and the missing teenager. The Amber Alert for Franklin is in effect in 3 states: Wisconsin, Arkansas, where Day is from, and Missouri. Franklin is several months pregnant, and Day is known to be the father. He's charged with child enticement and child abduction. If you have any information about where he and Franklin are, please call the Beaver Dam Police.
You can find all of our coverage, by the way, on this story on channel3000.com. To receive updates directly to your phone, download the free Channel 3000 mobile app.
Next on Live at 4, Republicans split on the president's latest comments on the Russia-Ukraine war.
And what we know about the Pope's condition tonight as he remains hospitalized for a 6th day. At least 2 people are dead after 2 small
planes crashed midair at an Arizona airport today. The two aircraft collided at about 8:30 in the morning local time near the regional airport just northwest of Tucson. The Federal Aviation Administration called the airport an uncontrolled field, meaning it does not have an operating air traffic control tower. This incident follows a string of recent aviation incidents, beginning with the January 29th collision between a Black Hawk jet and a passenger plane over the Potomac that left all of the passengers dead.
This is a live look at the White House this afternoon. President Trump is throwing his support behind the budget proposal from House Republicans. The plan, comprised of one bill, would dramatically shrink Medicaid, the government health insurance program that serves tens of millions of low-income and disabled Americans. The president announced his endorsement of the plan this morning, hours after his first joint interview with advisor Elon Musk. In it, he commented on his plans for Medicaid, something that Democrats were quick to point out.
Other than this fraud or something, we're going to find it's going to be strengthened, but won't be touched. Medicare, Medicaid, none of that stuff is going to be touched.
Nothing. They are already lying about their plans and saying these cuts will be painless, only going after fraud and abuse. Well, let me be the first to say that these cuts will not be painless.
Meanwhile, GOP senators are meeting with Vice President J.D. Vance to determine their next steps on budget reconciliation.
The Kremlin says President Trump and Russian President Vladimir Putin could meet in person before the end of next week. The two countries are holding high-level talks over the war in Ukraine. From his Florida resort, President Trump hit back at concern from Ukraine over not being invited to the talks in Saudi Arabia. The president today called Volodymyr Zelensky a dictator on the social media site Truth Social, after earlier in the day, the Ukrainian president accused him of living in a Russian disinformation bubble as the spat between the two spiraled. President Trump also called Zelensky a modestly successful comedian who talked the U.S. into spending $350 billion to go to war that couldn't be won. All of this a day after President Trump falsely claimed Ukraine began that war. That comment is dividing congressional Republicans.
I think what the president was referring to is this war would never have taken place if he was in office, and he wishes that Zelensky maybe would have came to him first before the war started, because Zelensky had plenty of time.
I trust President Trump. He's a master negotiator, and I think he's going to get to a lasting peace.
To the extent that the White House said that Ukraine started the war, I disagree. I think Vladimir Putin started the war.
And tomorrow, Zelensky will meet with the Trump administration's Russia-Ukraine envoy, Keith Kellogg.
Pope Francis, who's battling double pneumonia in the hospital, is showing slight improvement, the Vatican says. The 88-year-old pontiff is undergoing treatment at Rome's Gemelli Hospital, where he was admitted on February 14th after struggling with breathing difficulties for several days. Double pneumonia is a serious infection that can inflame and scar both lungs and can make breathing more difficult.
And let's get a look at our first warn forecast. Here's meteorologist Jacob Montesano. Jacob?
Thanks, Brady. As we take a look at the three things you need to know, still cold to end this week, although starting tomorrow, we are not expecting any more alert day conditions. In fact, right now, we kind of have pulled the alert day for our area. It will get much milder by Sunday, and we're continuing to see mostly dry conditions going forward. So taking a look at the wind chill forecast once again, it is still going to drop below zero, or pretty far below zero throughout the night into tomorrow morning. Could even see wind chill values near -20, kind of around -15 for the most part, though. But the difference for tomorrow compared to today is much of our area will see those wind chills get above zero by the afternoon. But as you can see, it will still be very cold. Wind chills will be in the single digits. And then Friday will be pretty similar to tomorrow in the sense that we'll start below zero in the wind chill department and then rise above that level for Friday afternoon. And Friday does look to be a little bit warmer with teens for wind chills in the afternoon. But again, it will still be rather cold. Looking at the actual temperatures, lows will be around zero tonight. We will see the clouds kind of clear out of the area, and we are expecting sunshine for tomorrow and Friday. And temperatures will be about 10 degrees warmer. Highs will be around 20 compared to the highs around 10 that we saw today. And the temperatures then will continue to warm up from there. Kind of a slow incline for the rest of this week, then a big jump on Sunday with 40s in the forecast Monday through Wednesday. Now let's take a look at the snowfall that we've seen so far this month. We pretty much are right on the mark in terms of what we normally see, just about 8.5 inches. But we're not expecting much snow for the rest of the month, and the February average snow, that's only up until this point. So we likely are going to have another month with below average snowfall. And although the month of February has been closer to average, we're still at a huge deficit for the winter as a whole. Almost by 17 inches we're below normal. So it continues to be an overall dry winter in that department, and it doesn't look like that's going to change anytime soon, because as we look at the precipitation chances, we're not going to see anything through the weekend, and by Monday it actually may be in the form of rain rather than snowfall. And even with this precipitation chance, we are likely not going to see much. So looking at the 7 to 10 day forecast, a slow incline in the temperatures with mostly dry weather. Again, a lot of small chances of rainfall for early next work week, but the bigger story by then will be the temperatures a lot better than what we're seeing right now. And in comparison to what we're seeing right now, it'll feel like spring, just in time for meteorological spring, which is in 8 days.
Now, what is the difference between that and the first day of spring on March 20th?
So the first day of spring is astronomical spring, which marks when the spring equinox happens. I think that's what it's called. Or it's when the sun is perfectly over the equator, usually at the end of March. But meteorological spring, we just go on a month-to-month basis. So March, April, May, that's spring. And then June starts June 1st. But astronomical summer starts June 22nd, roughly.
We'll go with the earlier deadline.
Okay. Whatever gets me closer to boat weather. Yeah. Thanks, Jacob.
Thanks, Jacob.
Coming up on Live at 4, our Spirit of Service campaign is well underway.
Our Josh Spreiter follows up with last year's winner with an update on how he spent the money that he won when we come back.
We are in the 608 with a follow-up to our Spirit of Service campaign.
Josh Spreiter is in Stoughton, continuing our coverage on local veterans doing something good.
Well, we're following up on last year's Spirit of Service Award winner because we want to see what he did with the winnings. We've got our friend Rob back with us. Rob, good to see you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Congratulations on all of the additions and renovations that you've done here at the Stoughton VFW. Why was it your mission in giving back to this place?
This place needed more. It's an outdated building. It was built in 1962. So it was talked about for quite a few months, and then just happened to stroll upon the Spirit of Service Award and ended up winning, which was amazing. And that was just 100% the kickoff for the fundraising, the evolution of the fundraising project that we had.
Yeah, and here you are. Give us a little tour here.
Yeah.
So folks walk in the front door. This is probably one of the first things they're going to realize is this has all been kind of pushed out and remodeled.
So this corner, if you've been to the Stoughton VFW before, like where Josh is standing now, it used to be the bathroom door for the men's room. And now we have our brand new men's room here, ADA compliant. We got a changing table in there if a guy brings his kid, trying to attract those younger members. And then we have the female bathroom, also is ADA compliant, and also a changing table. This side of the building has its own HVAC system.
Wow.
2 zones. We had a lot of standalone units, so our other goal was to get rid of those and get a walk-in cooler, walk-in freezer. So the first half of this is a fridge, and the back half of this is a smaller freezer.
One of the things you're proudest about is
yes, sir,
the kitchen, and why is that?
Well, as we're walking in here, what we're looking at now in the dishwashing area and the food prep area used to be the bathrooms. And this area right here used to be where the wall was, and this was your kitchen space. So on a Friday night, as busy as we get, anywhere from 280 to 380 orders, it was difficult because you had dishwashers, you had the kids bringing in the dirty dishes, and the kitchen was just packed. And it was inefficient, and the floor would get wet from doing dishes. And so it was, with having the bathroom expansion over there, what do we do with this other space? Well, make a bigger kitchen.
All right, so this back room, you refinished the floors, some fresh paint, freshened it up a little bit.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. So with the amount of downtime that we were going to have, with our staff when the kitchen was closed down, so we painted this. This used to look like your great-grandpa's basement, and it doesn't anymore. It's got a fresh coat of paint. We still got to get some wall stuff back up. Redid the hardwood floors. we figured we were going to be down, so take advantage of the time and get everything done at once and just be done and we can start fresh again.
You know, this was all about the future for the Stoughton VFW for you, and that's exactly why you wanted to give back.
Yes, sir.
Well, congratulations again, and thank you for everything you're doing. So you guys are holding an open house for folks to be able to come check this out on Saturday. What do folks need to know?
This Saturday from 4 to 8, we'll be open to the public. We'll have a little ribbon cutting ceremony. A couple speakers, I'll be speaking, my senior vice will be speaking. There's a lot of people that donated throughout the state of Wisconsin, so hopefully they got some of the invitations that we sent out so they can stop down and see what we got going on here.
Well, very good. We'll get this information up on channel3000.com as well. Rob, thank you. Congrats again. Thanks for having us out for a tour.
Absolutely.
If you'd like to learn more, again, just go up to our website. Congratulations to a well-deserved space here in Stoughton. In Stoughton, I'm Josh Breiter, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Josh. I love that we're honoring veterans through this, but they want to pay it forward and help their community.
Way to go, Rob.
Yeah. Well, coming up on Live at 4, a milestone for the Madison Fire Department.
Our Arman Rahman shows us why this new equipment is so groundbreaking when Live at 4 continues.
You're watching News 3 Now, Live at 4.
Well, here's a shot of somebody embracing winter. I love this. Out in the middle of the lake playing with their dog. It's almost warm enough to get out and enjoy it.
Almost, yes. We're very hopeful, and the weather words are very hopeful. The slow climb begins. Whatever climb will take it.
Yeah, unfortunately, the climb will be slow, at least for the end of this week, but each day is going to get a little bit better. And looking at the current temperatures, if you can believe it, they are a little bit better compared to yesterday. Right now, around 10 for much of southern Wisconsin. Even with that, about 3 to 4 degrees warmer than yesterday. Tomorrow will be quite a bit warmer than this, but still on the colder side. Looking at the current wind speeds, we continue to see some breezy weather. Again, the winds aren't too bad, but the temperatures are still cold enough to create below zero wind chills with just a little bit of wind. And right now, they're around 0 to -5 for a good portion of southern Wisconsin. Areas like Juneau right now not registering any wind, so that's why the wind chills aren't as bad there. Now, as we take a look at the current radar, very dry, and that's going to be the case for much of the next, several days. We are seeing some snow in northern Wisconsin, but that is going to continue to stay well north of our area. We will continue to see some cloudy skies, though, with temperatures in the single digits for the evening, but the clouds will then clear out throughout the night with temperatures dropping to around 0. So I'll talk more in detail about this slow climb in temperatures coming up a little bit later.
All right, Jacob, thank you. The man charged with the killing of a UW Whitewater gymnast will go to trial next winter. Court records show 23-year-old Chad Richards' jury trial will start on December 15th and go through the 23rd. Richards is charged with first-degree intentional homicide in connection to the shooting death of 21-year-old Kara Welch last August. A criminal complaint alleges Richards shot Welch 8 times. If convicted, Richards faces a maximum penalty of life in prison.
The first custom-built electric fire engine now lives in Madison, fresh off the production line at Pierce Manufacturing in Oshkosh.
Arman Rahman takes us aboard the new rig.
Madison Fire Station 8 is shifting into new gears with a new supercharged, fully electric ride. The Pierce Volterra electric pumper features a 246 kilowatt-hour battery, zero emissions pumping and driving in EV mode, and backup power from an internal combustion engine.
We can switch it to run in diesel or electric, or vice versa, depending what you want to do. Simple push of a button, boom.
Now, it's not new to Station 8. In 2021, MFD became the first fire department in North America to test and evaluate the prototype of the zero-emission engine.
The electrical portion of the truck is about a 4-hour training, but this is just like any other diesel fire truck we have as well. We still have the same pump, we still have the same foam system. All the controls in the cab are relatively the same. The only thing different is it's run on electrical power.
Pierce Manufacturing out of Oshkosh worked with Madison for the final development, evaluation, and certification process leading to the rig you see now. Now, making a fire truck electric isn't exactly as simple as doing so with a regular car. I'll have more on that tonight at 6. For now, reporting on the east side of Madison, Arman Rahman, News 3 Now.
Thank you, Armand. To Wall Street now. U.S. stock indices drifted through a quiet mixed day. The Dow gained 71 points, the Nasdaq gained 15 points, and the S&P 500 gained 15 points as well.
Well, News 3 Now is continuing to celebrate Black History Month, and we have team coverage on the importance of the beauty industry.
We start on Madison's south side at the Black Business Hub. That's where our Tanisha Shaw is right now. Tanisha, you spoke with the founder of Madison's first Black-owned cosmetology school.
Yes, Brady, like you said, I'm here at the Black Business Hub at Chanel Ardor. I talked to the founder. Her name is Tanisha Harbert. She's a trailblazer within the beauty industry, and I'm going to let you get a look inside Chanel Ardor. So take a look. Back here is where you will get your nails done. You can see the nail polish is here on the walls, and you see all these salon suites. That's where you would either learn how to do hair or get your hair done. Now, Chanel Ardor opened in 2017. Harbert says because of a lack of diversity within cosmetology schools around Wisconsin. Now, the shop teaches all things hair, nails, and beyond.
I believe our students leave with the confidence to serve anybody that sits in their chair, basically. And that's how it should be across the board, right? We receive the same education, the textbooks, some of us use the same textbooks, things like that, but sometimes some things may not be there. Some things I may have to add in. And so my goal is for students to just be confident servicing anyone.
She also told me that she set up shop here on Madison South Side because it's a diverse neighborhood and because she wanted to make sure that everybody could have access to the school and salon. I'll have more on the changes that they're making tonight at 6 p.m. Reporting in Madison, Tanisha Shaw, News 3 Now.
Tanisha, thank you. And as we continue to cover Black stories in Dane County, we're also stepping into a barber shop.
For the Black community, getting a haircut is more than 30 minutes in a chair. It's an experience. Our Jalen Banks has more.
The barber shop. On the surface, it's just a place for you to go get your hair cut. But for many in the Black community, it plays a much larger role. I spent the afternoon in one Sun Prairie barbershop speaking with its owner on what this place symbolizes for so many.
You step into a barbershop and you're embraced with the buzzing of clippers, the smell of sprays, and the countless conversations. All of this adds up to be one of the most unique communal experiences.
I think it plays a major role, especially in the Black community, because barbershops is a place where it's a safe haven.
The importance of this safe haven has grown so popular that it's been portrayed on the big and small screens, with MGM's The Barbershop and HBO's The Shop, both highlighting the role of the Black barbershop.
Reporting in Sun Prairie, Jalen Banks, News 3 Now.
Jalen, thank you, and tune in tonight at 6 to see Jalen's full story, and we'll see if he gets his haircut as well. He's sitting in the chair, so you never know.
He's right there, might as well. Well, coming up on Live at 4, send us your plant questions.
You can submit them right now to tips@channel3000.com. Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company is here, and we'll take your questions when we come back.
My biggest thing with my dad was like always a big community, and he talked to people. He knows so many people, and I'm just trying to keep that going through, just the next generation, just keeping customers coming in. He was a character. He was a character, and I always people always say, once you met him, you'll never forget him. I have customers that come in and just love hearing the stories.
Okay, spring is coming. The first day of spring is a month from tomorrow, on March 20th. Yeah.
I'm excited. Yeah. Well, let's get into the spring feeling. We'll be in the garden before we know it, and we are taking your plant questions at tips@channel3000.com for Lisa Briggs from the Bruce Company.
Hi, guys. I know. That's a month away. That's amazing.
Yes.
So
keeping you going.
The whole Jimmy seeing his shadow thing is, he sees a shadow and you have an early spring, or he doesn't see, he sees his shadow and you have 6 more weeks of winter, which puts you right on the equinox, which is the first day of spring. He doesn't see his shadow, you get an early winter, or an early spring, which if we had spring on the first day of spring here in Wisconsin, that would be really early.
That would be amazing.
So I don't think for us that it matters whether Jimmy sees his shadow or not.
I think you're right.
Tell us how you really feel.
But it's awfully fun to get up in the morning and wonder, right?
Well, and it's fun to start doing things now, which
Yes.
you can do. And that's
Yes,
actually our
indeed.
first question. She's asking, when can you start bulbs indoors?
So it depends on what kind of bulb she has. If she's, from the rest of her question, she says she stored them in peat moss. So I'm suspecting she has summer blooming bulbs like begonias or cannas, that kind of thing. Not the fall, not the ones you plant in the fall.
Okay.
And so those you can go ahead and start now, especially if you've got things like dinner plate dahlias or things that are calla lilies, which are a little slower to start. Get those started inside now. You can put them in pots, in just good quality potting medium, and water them well, and then water them sparingly until they start to grow.
Okay.
A little bit of a warm spot or some bottom heat from a radiator or a heat mat would not be a bad thing either. It'll get them started a little bit faster. And then once the weather's nice, then she can plant them outside.
Okay.
Something to look forward to.
Yeah.
All right, this next question. I brought up 6 of my amaryllis bulbs 6 weeks ago out of the cold storeroom. I have leaves 2 feet long, but hanging over the side of the pot. Not a one has a stem. The same thing happened last year with different bulbs. Rita would like to have an answer to that.
Okay, so there are a lot of things which factor whether or not amaryllis bulbs will rebloom. So when you get them from the store at the holidays, they're ready to go. And so they bloom, and then you cut off those flowering stems and let those big strappy leaves kind of hang out. You put them outside during the summertime. They really like that. And you want to put them on a feeding schedule. Then about the end of September, you break them in for a dormancy. I will say, though, that to get them started and to trigger those flower buds, they like a really warm spot. I have to put mine in my utility room where the furnace is, because the rest of my house is way too chilly, and they'll just sit there. So I'm wondering if for Rita, if maybe she keeps going with what she's got, and when spring comes, put them outside, Rita, and put them on a feeding schedule so that you can get that bulb ready to develop the flower buds, because it develops the flower buds during the summer, not after you put it in dormancy.
Okay.
It's fun learning about all this. We got to do a segment for the other show I do, the News at 9, and we planted some basil.
We did.
I learned you can do herbs, but I also learned don't do tomatoes right now.
No.
Have to wait until it's warmer.
Yeah, so right now you can do herbs. You can do like bulbing onions.
Yeah.
You could do, it's a little early for broccoli, but you could do, if you want to try to plant some artichokes, you could do that.
Okay.
So there are a number of things that you could be starting now. Eggplant is good to start now. We've got on our Facebook page every Wednesday, we do a little thing about what you can plant right now, as far as starting seeds inside.
That's handy.
And then you just want to like back off a little bit. Go and get your seeds, because it's really fun to do that and get all prepared. But there's a rhythm to when you start things. Otherwise, they just get leggy and kind of, they're not super healthy unless you have greenhouse conditions in your house.
Seeds are very expensive this year. Is there a reason why that is?
Well, I think things have gone up for sure. I haven't seen, the seed companies that we have, maybe they went up a few cents.
Modestly,
It's been modest, considering that they've been a fairly stable priced commodity for a long time. But when you think about what you would spend for the food that the seeds are going to give you, if they're all properly taken care of and that kind of thing, then it becomes...
It puts it in perspective.
And it's awfully fun to deal with them. Some of them have such funny names and stories behind them, so...
I can't wait.
Yeah.
It's always fun to have you here.
It's nice to be here.
Yeah, thanks for imparting your wisdom.
No worries.
And coming up on Live at 4, Jacob will have another check of the forecast.
And later, the first of what's going to be a yearly tradition at a local bakery. Another tropical sight for you, Susan.
This is for your senses, just to make us all feel better. This is a live look at Port Canaveral, Florida. See the palm trees blowing in the breeze,
Ocean.
76 degrees.
I would like to go there, but we have some warmer temperatures on the way eventually. Here's Jacob Montesano.
So something very funny with that shot is before the show, when I was working on this show, the back system was glitching out a little bit, and when I pulled up the look that said Madison at the top, it showed that photo, and I'm like, I don't think that's Madison. I wish, but unfortunately, we are still dealing with those very cold temperatures. Now, it is going to get milder by Sunday, and all of next week will be above normal, and we still will see dry conditions going forward. Taking a look at the current wind chill bulletins, our area not under that cold weather advisory, but you can see just to our south and our southwest, there is that cold weather advisory in effect tonight, and a lot of the Midwest still dealing with cold weather advisories and extreme cold warnings. So you can still see the cold temperatures. That will also impact our area tonight, but no advisories or warnings issued for the overnight hours for southern Wisconsin. But wind chills will still be in the negative teens overnight, possibly near negative 20 by tomorrow morning. It will get above zero, the wind chills will, during the day tomorrow, but they're still going to be in the single digits, so still very cold, and they're going to drop back below zero again for Friday morning and then rise a little bit further for Friday afternoon. But again, still cold with wind chills in the teens. Looking at the actual temperatures tomorrow, we'll have highs around 20. We'll also see more sunshine, so temperatures will be about 10 degrees warmer tomorrow, and we also will see a lot more sunshine compared to today. And the temperatures continuing to rise as we head towards next week. 40s in the forecast for Monday through Wednesday. It does look like, though, we are going to see those temperatures dropping a little bit towards the end of the 10-day forecast. And looking at the extended forecasts, they're a little bit beyond the next 10 days. The beginning of March does look like we will be a little bit below normal, but don't worry, not going to be anywhere close to what we're seeing right now. Below normal by the start of March will be temperatures in the lower 30s, which, compared to this is not bad at all. So very dry weather going forward, with temperatures just getting better and better slowly. Still going to be cold tomorrow and Friday and even Saturday, but by next week it will be a lot better. A few small chances of precipitation, but otherwise we're going to be pretty dry.
Well, today is the first of what will forever be known going forward as Donut Man Day in Madison.
And today you can get a donut at one of Greenbush Bakery's 2 locations for just 83 cents. Now here's why. It's in honor of Marvin Donut Man Miller's 83rd birthday. Well, sadly, Miller died in March, leaving his family business in the hands of his grandson Taylor. And we stopped by one of the bakeries earlier today to ask Miller's daughter Lisa why she wanted to honor her father in this way.
My biggest thing with my dad was always a big community, and he talked to people. He knows so many people, and I'm just trying to keep that going through, just the next generation, just keeping customers coming in. He was a character. He was a character, and I always people always say, once you met him, you'll never forget him. I have customers that come in and just love hearing the stories.
Oh, the beloved donut shops are located on Regent Street and High Crossing Boulevard. The deal lasts, by the way, until 8 o'clock tonight. Lisa and Taylor, you are making your dad proud.
I bet he would have loved making people happy like this.
Yes, exactly.
Yeah, very nice. Well, let's go have a donut.
Who doesn't love donuts?
Yeah.
And maybe a hot cup of coffee.
Yeah, still a few more cold days, but next week it's going to feel a lot better, especially after these cold temperatures we've seen. In comparison, as I've been saying, it'll feel like spring.
It will. Can't wait. All right, Jacob, thanks. We'll be right back. Okay. What happened after this house exploded and caught on fire in Racine? Thanks for joining us for Live at 4 today. We hope to see you right back here tomorrow. News 3 Now at 5 starts right now.